Acid Bala. Just a few housekeeping rules for our webinar. As you know, we always have this as a bi-weekly webinar. And we have also the English to French as well as French to English translation. So from your screen on the Zoom down, you can clearly see interpretation. So you can choose which interpretation you prefer, and then you will be tuned into that channel. So for any question that you find you need to ask the presenters or the speakers for today, just go down on the Q&A. Don't put that in the chat, but put the questions in the Q&A, and then they will be answered as we get towards the end of the presentation. As you have said, whoever did the registration, you will be sent a link to the recording of today's webinar, and we are happy that you managed to keep time as well as joining. Shortly also introduce today's speaker, Professor Placid.
Thank you very much, Gerard. It's always a pleasure to present some of interesting topics by. I think it's also a way for us to promote the work that we are doing within the continent. So I'm going here to present Dr. Trésor, who will guide us through medical doctor as a background, and is doing a specialization in microbiology at the University of Kinshasa, and is also now coordinating the direct sequencing of poliovirus within our pathogen genomic lab at INRB in Democratic Republic of Congo. So Dr. Trésor, I will be moderating this webinar, and please, if you have a question, you can put on the chat and we can read your question at the end of the presentation. Dr. Trésor, you have the floor, please.
Merci, professeur Placido. Merci, docteur Gérard, pour ma présentation. Merci aussi à tous les participants à ces webinaires.
Recording in progress.
Webinar really in our laboratories on the genomic surveillance, to present our first experience on genomic.
Voilà, merci.
Okay, thank you. I hope that we can all see my screen. On, are you able to see my screen?
Yes, Prof.
Voilà, voici notre.
Alors, donc c'est ça. This is, the overview. So we have three. One, we'll do an overview on the poliomyelitis, on the situation in the DRC. On the second point, we are going to talk about the new and quick methods of direct detection by nanopore sequencing of poliovirus. So these are new quick methods. And the last point, we are going to talk about the routine poliovirus genomic surveillance and the first experience of the DRC.
Voilà. La poliomyélite.
So the poliomyelitis a disease that you know that is caused by poliomyelitis or poliovirus. It's a virus that is transmitted mainly by you know the mouth and it's through the contamination on by intaking some food, and we can say that this is a disease that has, you know, can resist for a longer period in the environment. And you know, this can cause a danger to the population for a long period of time. And this disease is characterized by a transmission, a silent transmission. So you can see more the 100% of people. It's only 1%. You know that they are infected. That can be symptomatic, but can also contribute to the expansion of the disease. And we also have to say that there are some, you know, progress that have been made with the initiative, world initiative of you know, the poliomistic, and so we have a reduction of about 99% of you know, the disease, and that is been done through the initiative that was put in place. Today in Africa, we can say that yeah, there are some efforts that have been made, and we have the polio virus, you know, that can continue. And since 2020, Africa was declared, you know, or certified world, you know, polio free. And how is the actual situation of the disease in the DRC? So we have to note that the last case of polio wild virus in the DRC and 11 and vaccination anti-polio that and also, you know, the program that was put in place in the DRC. And 11 years later, you know, the eradication of the polio virus, you know, continue, you know, to now it's a derivative, you know, a form that the DRC, as you can see in the map. So since 2017 up to 2022, so we have an operation of cases, you know, that is continuing in almost all the provinces of the DRC. And here we can also take note that there is an increase of cases since 2017. We had 22 cases. In 2018, we have 20 more cases. But now we are in September, so we have 99 cases. You know, yeah. Also. Now, how as the DRC, you know, confirm the cases? So through, I mean, using this area, you know, is very big. We only have one laboratory, certified, qualified laboratory to treat it, UNRB. in the department of polio that was accredited in 1997 under the supervision of Professor Jean-Jacques. And with this laboratory, so all the provinces, all the cases that we are registered in all the provinces of the DRC, you know, they have to send samples to Kinshasa. And we have to say that this laboratory samples are from the Congo Brazzaville as well. So there you can see that there are a lot of difficulties, logistical difficulties, you know, with this the area, a big area. If we have to send all the samples from all the provinces, so you can really see the logistical challenges that the DRC is facing to send samples to the capital city, Kinshasa. So what is the algorithm that is being used in the laboratory, polio laboratory? So here it's our algorithm that is so in the provinces. So we have to make an effort to do a surveillance that can notify some cases. And these notified cases, so we have to take these two, and we do that for each and every cases in interval at least over 24 hours, and we also had, so we take the cases. So we take just one sample and all the samples. So all these cases that we are notifying, and we also take the samples also. So all data has to be sent to Kinshasa, to the laboratory in Kinshasa. So all these, samples, we are using planes, or sometimes even the road, in order to send the samples to Kinshasa. So we only have one algorithm that is used through the phones. And the cases, positive cases to the couch, where we suspect some polio cases. So we have to do a differentiation, and here we use PCR multiplex that can give us a result, and if it is suspected or the derivative strain, so mute strain that can present some discordance with vaccine strain. So this suspected strain that present, some discordances has also to be sent to a sequence do this. There is a time, that is passing from the notification of the case to the tech we know in our countries, including the to move to examine the issues of transport and infrastructure in order to send that to the qualified and the certified laboratory in Kinshasa. So the algorithm that we are using and validated by the network and the cellular couch, can take 10 to 14 days, and there we have to differentiate, the PCR. So there we lose at least 2 weeks, and the suspected isolated suspect, we have either to go to South Africa to do the sequencing in order to confirm whether it a mute strain or vaccines. Now here you can understand, the situation, and we have challenges that we need to overcome in order to, what remains for us in order to eradicate polio in Africa, because all of us, we have eradicated wild polio. Now we are, facing a situation of a, low coverage in terms of vaccines. So here you can see and all the difficulties in terms of transport. So. And even the confirmation of cases, and this is a disease, that is silent. And if we detect and we notify, and if that has taken a lot of time to confirm the cases, so consequently, you can see that there will be a delay in having the response, and this is the challenge that we have to overcome. And here already the initiative, global initiative on the eradication of polio, and if you see the strategic plan up to 2026, so here you can see that it has been mentioned. This strategy has been mentioned in order to shorten the period, to reduce the time and also the step of detection. In proposing a detection strategy and even the sequencing in the country at the national level in order to reduce, to shorten the time to receive the responses. And the DRC had participated in this strategy and has put in place some detection method and even the sequencing and through the platform that include many members. We have Imperial College of London, we have Nebraska University, we have the University of Edinburgh, and even NRB of the DRC, and the funding from the BMGF. So we have some new methods, to rapidly detect and also the sequencing, in the country at the country level. And we benefited, we participated in a training that was done first online, where we had talked, or where we were trained on some principles, techniques, and the second step, there was the practical training, physical, training at the laboratory of NRB, in the laboratory of genomic surveillance of Kinshasa. So during this training, the DRC was trained using three methods. So we have the direct detection by monopore, the sequencing, and these three methods. So we have the first one that I'm going to present during these presentations. So it's the sequencing for the protein. And we have the second method, which is the sequencing of the whole genome that can help. So we can go to the genes for the proteins. And here we also have some other mutations, and we have the third method, which is so here we have the pan enterovirus capsid sequencing. So as I said, so these are direct method, and here the samples that we managed to test, because in the DRC, in the case of surveillance, there is also an environmental surveillance. So it means that the samples are, treated. So we take the S2, the water, and then look at the analysis. So with the culture, so only the S2, So we know that in this, with this method of direct detection, so we are going, to the expansion to RNA and the protocol. So these are current protocols that we are using in the laboratories. And it's true, yes, we have to choose protocols that can give us a good fragment of RNA. And so this is what we have to favor in terms of, and up to that, there is a series of PCR. So here and we do a preparation for our sequencing library with the technology in Ion. So as I said, that we are going to do the presentation on the routine surveillance that to do the sequencing of VP1. This method passes through RT-PCR, which is the production of the complementary DNA. And after, during that amplification of the RT-PCR, so I can say that this RT is there to amplify the path, that is dealing with capsid. Yeah, so this RT-PCR is doing the amplification of all the genes code on the capsids. So we have VP1, 3, 2, and 4, and also the complementary DNA. And there will be a second PCR that we are going to do. using the product of the first PCR. So it means we collect at least 2 microliters, and we now use to amplify of the VP1 path. And the particularity that we use, so these are, the barcode, and it means that these they already have a number, the molecular mark that differentiate that from all other, part along these other steps. And after this PCR, we have the possibility, to use all the samples instead of, to deal with each sample. So this was the principle for this sequencing technique. And what is the duration? Because we talked about time, and because we have to do diagnosis and also and this method proliferation by the technique of sequencing. So for the first part, we have to mind the time. So we can do the experience of the DRC that I can present to you, and we can maybe do that in 4 hours, the extraction of 95 samples, and the step that follows. So we have a pan-RT, donc that can take 4 hours, and the second one, so we have the amplification of VP1 that can take 1 hour 30 minutes in order to move to the preparation of where we can. So we have a different, that we can move, to the step of put all the samples in one and continue the process. So we have to look at, how the technique is fast, and they can go to the library, and we can load them with different PCR that we have with the sequencing, and
the technique is giving us the possibility on how to do it, to officialize and have the results in good time. And even as the sequencing is continuing, so we with we can know already the samples that are there, and which are suspect and suspected samples, and we know how to go about it. That is the picture of what we know, that this sample is positive, that but this other one we expect it to be negative, and the analysis could be, we can anticipate already, and even at bio, so we know already to get the results at in a good time through this sequencing. And in the second command, that when we have finished with sequencing, it gives us, that's the picture that you are having there. It gives us a picture. Here we have to 2008, and in this sample is negative, and we know already that this the negative, as you can see, this sample, this box after having given us the number, when it shows that we need to look for the mutant, so we have to go into the file to know if this is postbox or not. This is going to give us a file. A file, as you can see. But this file that we have already, it comes automatically as you click on box and allows us to have a file for each sample, and each sample with post box too. Now we have to get into the report file, and we have to count the number of mutation, and there is an algorithm to interpret the number of mutation that you find, and we have more than 10 mutation, and the algorithm should have about more 6 greater than 2, and for sub number of mutation greater than 2 or 3, 1 or 3. The experience of this protocol, as we said, that as we count time on a published article, the technique was experimented in Pakistan with the material. So you can estimate already, and for 3 days to get the sequence for VPR. The time that we have done this, it's a record time within a record time, and this method, and 3 days we have already the sequence, and we know. And when you compare this with the cell culture, we have seen that the sensitivity, it was not inferior, was not less than the samples. And as we compare with the current algorithm, we are gaining more in a record time. We have finished. We have presented the principles of the techniques, and now we are presenting to you the experience of the DRC on the surveillance genomic routine poliovirus genomic surveillance, and first experience in the DRC. As you are aware, the DRC of other pathogens, and such as Ebola and on routine poliovirus and genomic. This was the first of its kind in Africa to do such a surveillance, and on a routine poliovirus genomic. What are the results that DRC got with the first experience on the routine poliovirus genomic surveillance? And starting from October 2021, last year, we began to experiment the technique up to February 2022. We analyzed, and within a record time, about 2,365 samples, and that was the samples that came to the EINRB. So this came for sequencing, and with in parallel to the cell culture, and we continued to validate it by cellular as regards to sequencing that we used on that period, the pilot period, and that we used the main sequencing. We got the results, and for VP1 sequencing, and to obtain a shorter medium of 7 days as compared to the results, I mean, for cell culture and to the sending of for sequencing of these into other laboratories. So we had at least 33 to 7 days shortened period. And as regards to the comparison results for GDNS as compared to the culture for mutating and the negative results, we had a sense to cellular culture. So we have seen to compare the sequencing obtained according to this culture. We compared our sequencing with the national laboratories from South Africa, was a variation of about 99%. So at the same place where we had the mutation rate for sequencing with the direct, that was, these were areas of mutation, but the number of sequencing that were coming from South Africa, from cellular culture. And the results, I mean, which we have presented, as you can see, from October 2021 to February 2022. This is a pilot study on an experimental basis, and we continued with the help of this platform. So we continued to analyze up to now, even in September, even now, we continue to analyze all the samples that we are receiving from national institutes. Now we can extracted from the validated algorithm by the laboratories. And these samples are also taken to laboratories on the genomic surveillance for pathogen for direct detection. And as we mentioned, we have resolution as regards to the challenges that have been encountered in the type of the pilot study, and extracted, we needed to maximize. So we have the extractor Kingfisher, which is the automatic to maximize in terms of time and in issuing the results. And we have also managed to the Africa CDC for this equipment that have been procured, allowing us to analyze rapidly, and it has a system, a rapid system, I mean, which has shortened the time for processing. I mean, the samples and through sequencing from 2 hours only with Crino, which as you have observed that in our study, we have now reduced it to about 3 days only instead of the longer period that used to take. Now we have also done some experience the Institute National, that the deployment training to train online the ENRB in Kinshasa, and we have at least 171 samples and brought back from ENRB, and we also got from Maniema and in other provinces such as Maniema. And in conclusion, we are saying that this technique of rapid detection is a good opportunity, a real opportunity for the DRC and even for the whole Africa to reduce the delivery time of results and the response to polio epidemics.
Merci,
Dr. Tresor, for such presentation, brilliant presentation. Well, I would like quickly to have questions that have been asked. The first question is coming from Marcel Kone, and is asking to know the difference, genomic difference before the wild source and the vaccine.
Merci.
Thank you for the question. Well, what is the difference between the wild virus, and well, the wild? This is a natural virus, and we use, if you did not know, the pathogen, which is a vaccine, I mean, to prevent the case of poliomic, and there's an oral vaccine and injectable injection. Well, the oral one is which is made up of wild virus. They are no longer wild, but they have been reduced. They have becoming vaccinal, and we have a weak coverage. That type will remain for a longer time in a community which is not vaccinated and immunized. It moves from one person to another, and during that circulation, that movement, that virus can be combined with other virus are going to find its new force of the beginning, from the beginning as it is, and it will not circulate for a long time, because this is the work of that the vaccine is to avoid it to circulate for a long time. It mixes up with other.
Juste pour préciser la question, c'était sur le plan génomique. Sur le plan génomique, comment tu fais la différence entre la souche vaccinale et la souche sauvage? Sur le plan génomique, c'est-à-dire lorsque tu as une séquence de souche sauvage et une séquence de souche vaccinale. Voilà.
Voilà, on fait une comparaison avec des souches de référence avec des logiciels qu'on a, avec des programmes.
In comparison with the sequencing and we compare the sequencing that we have with the platform and to know if that virus gotten from the sample is resembling, is more like the virus wild or vaccino, and which this is a simple comparison. Thank you, Dr. Trésor. When you talk about vaccinovirus, you have already answered that this is a reduced virus. And the other question is, why should you send samples to South Africa for sequencing, yet we have capacity of sequencing in the country?
Merci.
Thank you.
Pour la nombre de critères dans ces réseaux.
There are criteria for these polio labs. So when we have a new technique, that new technique should
certains critères pour à la fin
have certain criteria for it to be validated. For such technique,
nous avons déjà passé
we have
la validité des résultats.
Done the validity of the results with the current algorithm and
des résultats
and as shown as compared results.
Pour ces critères, c'est déjà bon.
Well, what is remaining? So we just remaining with certain criteria, so that the technique can prove its efficiency in other countries. That's why we have already to train for other African countries, and as we fill in those criteria, we'll stop sending these samples in South Africa, and other members will also access our lab as well. Thank you, Dr. Trésor. There is another question. Jordan is asking if you can share. I think we can continue. I mean, we have to share our contact so that we can continue bilaterally to ask questions, sequencing. So I think we can. The question has already been answered during the presentation. How many times can you use the fluorescent? The fluorescent. How time can you use it? Can you reuse it? Merci thank you for that question. And how many times can you use the fluorescent? At least for two or three. It depends on the manner in which you manage. After the first round, you should quickly wash it. I mean, and that you can reuse it next time. So we have at least 2 or 3 times, and the maximum at least 3 times increase of polio cases in a very alarming manner. And so as we know that the polio virus is communicating and is transmissible, and especially in places where there is a weak vaccination, immunization, and with poor health conditions. So it is important to manage this case to avoid some contamination, some transmission. How many best people, a member of staff that you are managing to do such a gigantic job? We have in the sequencing department, we have about 8 people. five and
Merci, Dr. Trésor.
thank you, Dr. Trésor. There's also another question. What do we do to get the material? We are working in a consortium with the Imperial College of London, and the NRB and the partners that are helping us to buy and different reactive, as you mentioned. We are lucky to have those that are helping us and equipment and that are helping us to do the tests in the quickest time, and not just polio, but also other pathogens. Well, there's a question from Odette is asking, which other countries rather than the DRC who are doing sequencing of polio virus in Africa? Which other countries apart from the DRC? Thank you, just presented. As for now, there's only the Democratic Republic of Congo. As regards to polio sequencing, we have a network of laboratories which are accredited for sequencing. As I said, there's South Africa and other countries as well. Thank you. There's another question from Wang asking how's the sensitivity of the DNS as compared to culture and the differentiation algorithm. He talked about this during the presentation. I don't know if we should there is. Do you think that is a good question? Do you think that this technique can replace the culture and PCR? Thank you, Fidel, for the question. And I can say that after the pilot phase, we think that this is a good opportunity for others. So we can work. Well, we are in the phase of comparing the results and the sensitivity of, I think that this can replace the cellular test. There is a question from Rura. It is very interesting and is comparing the
comment on appelle ça comment on appelle ça capital expenditure.
The capital expenditure.
Donc, c'est pour voir si.
I would like to know if the price for $15 per sample can it be afforded by the people, and the people are poor, and in surveillance. As regard to surveillance, the analysis are not paid by the people. The bill is the Ministry of Health. Does it pay for the analysis of all these pathogens that are under surveillance in the country? Another question, it is, have we already sequencing on the new vaccine which is being used? If you have result, kindly tell us.
Merci.
Thank you for the question. And well, this person did not write his name, a known person. So we haven't yet found the result in the NLP sequencing. But we have the possibility in our protocol, since we began vaccination of this new vaccine, we have the capacity to detect the new. Thank you. Trésor, and to you sending his encouragement, and there's a question from Aisha. Is asking, when you reuse the don't you face problem of cross contamination of samples, previous samples? Thank you for the question, a very important question. During this phase of experimental phase, pilot phase, at each analysis, we take into account of different ranges, and we begin, from the results, we can confirm that at least 80 cases, we have not found any confirmation case, meaning that the washing is clean, is properly. Thank you, Dr. Trésor, and I think that we have come to the end. 1 minute more left. There are other questions, but kindly send us through the email, kindly get them and forward them to us so that Dr. Trésor could reply, answer to all those questions, and that will be very good to share the experience. I think I would like to give the floor to Gerard, and thank you so much to everyone for participating to this webinar.
Thank you, Professor Placide, and thank you, Dr. Trésor, for the nice presentation. And all from PGI and Africa CDC, we wish to see you again in the next 2 weeks. Thank you and bye-bye. A link will be sent to you for as long as you signed up for this webinar. It will be sent for this recording so that you can follow up with more questions. Thank you very much and have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.